All right, Industrial Talk is brought to you by Endeavor Business Media. Now, I'm telling you, man, they put on a great show. I was at the one that they put together called the Manufacturing and Technology Show in Cleveland, Ohio. You got to put that one on your bucket list for next year. Great venue, great event, and put on by a great company with great people. That's Endeavor Business Media. Go out to endeavorbusinessmedia.com. Find out more. You will not be disappointed. Enjoy the interview.
Welcome to the Industrial Talk Podcast with Scott McKenzie. Scott is a passionate industry professional dedicated to transferring cutting-edge, industry-focused innovations and trends while highlighting the men and women who keep the world moving. So put on your hard hat, grab your work boots, and let's go.
All right, once again, welcome to Industrial Talk, the number one industrial-related podcast in the universe, and I'm not overselling that at all. And we celebrate industry heroes such as yourself because you are bold, you are brave, you dare greatly, solve problems, you are changing lives, and you are changing the world each and every day, and that's why this platform is dedicated to you. That's why we celebrate you here. We are broadcasting from the Manufacturing and Technology Show here in Cleveland, Ohio, and I want to give a big shout out to all of the manufacturers that have great, it's full of solutions. Right here, solutions. You got a problem, they've got a solution. That's what the Manufacturing and Technology Show is all about. In a hot seat, Michelle Katics. Did I get that right, Katics?
You sure did.
I nailed the Katics part. And she is co-founder of Bankers Lab. And you're saying to yourself, Scott, I don't know it. Yeah, you will know about Bankers Lab after this conversation. Michelle, how you doing?
I'm doing really well.
That's good. I've been stalking you for the past couple of days, which is pretty creepy. However, I win, you lose. I found you, and you're on the podcast because your story needs to be told. Who is the other founder?
The other founder is Kurt Ginger, who's our CTO, and he designed our simulation algorithms, which have been used in the industry for over 10 years.
You've been around that long?
We have.
It's pretty cool. By the way, it's cool that you have the URL, Bankers Lab.
Oh, yeah.
Unless somebody says Bankers Slab.
Yes, exactly.
They do that too, huh?
Occasionally.
Yeah, of course it would be me. Because reading's not a strong suit for me. So for the listeners out there, give us a little background, 411 on who you are.
Well, sure. I am a recovering banker. And
sorry to hear that.
And I'm a banker who was trying to solve her own problem. So I worked in a big global bank that had 57 countries, and we were supposed to teach everybody in 57 countries how to manage complex lending portfolios.
Okay.
Not easy.
No.
Spoiler alert, even bankers aren't really sure how to do that. And what we realized is that when we just put them into a simulation, kind of like, if you want to learn to drive a motorcycle, you can do those fun MotoGP games. Right. Learning by doing. So we created this numerical simulation to just let people do what if, and what if I did this, and what if I did that, and it worked. So
it's not an Excel spreadsheet, right?
No, sir.
It's a little bit more. So
it's slightly more. Yes, it's a web application that is hosted on AWS and Azure from Microsoft. So
no kidding.
We've used it in over 30 countries, and initially by obviously a big customer base of ours are banks and financial institutions, but now it's spreading across the world.
So here's the deal. So you come up with this platform, this algorithm, this solution that can give you the ability to do what-ifs, which is what the financial institution should be doing each and every day, right? And now they're using your product?
Correct. And furthermore, we're saying, wait a minute, the manufacturers can actually beat the banks at their own game because the manufacturers understand their customers that they're selling their goods to. They understand. They can create a sticky. So if you're a big manufacturer and you're trying to sell a big piece of equipment, you tell the guy, good luck, go to the bank. When you get back and got your loan, then I'll sell it to you. Instead, you can say, you know what? What's your issue? We'll create a financing option, which many manufacturing companies do, but now it's democratized because of cloud computing, so even a relatively small manufacturer can be their own GE capital.
Okay, you're going to have to run me through that.
Sure.
Because here's my thinking, my thought process. I recognize it, and because I love finance, I've created the models, unfortunately, all through Excel. But I became very good at it. Anyway, how does one do that? Here's my typical understanding. I got a need. I need capital. I go to the bank. Then they look at my whatever they look at financially. Mm-hmm. Then they say yay or nay, or we'll do it if this, and this is it. That's sort of the traditional. How does that differ?
Oh, well, first of all, our partner, Turnkey Lender, has the automated platform, and they use APIs to pull in data from here and there and everywhere. So they can automate it, set up some models in there, give those risk indicators. And also, you don't necessarily need AI and all this data. For example, let's say they're a first-time customer, start out with a rent to lease, and then the minute they start paying on time for 3 or 6 months, step them up to the lease to own, and then expand your product set. So you can do your product design as the financer to encourage that product step up with the customer. So sometimes it could just be role based.
Yeah.
Other times you can pull in the AI for other stuff. And we help banks and any lender design those products, and then you play around with the sim.
See that's where the real, from my perspective, because I would always like to dabble and do what ifs and you simulate all day long, but through that activity, through that simulation, I believe you learn more. You understand more. You're saying, oh, I see how I did this. It impacted that. I understand all of that. It makes me, an owner, probably more or knowledgeable about the financial implications of whatever the decision I need to make.
Yeah.
Do you ever get to a point where somebody's playing around with that simulation, seeing it, right, and working it, and decide, no, I can't justify it. I just can't get the numbers, or do they come to you and say, I'm trying to get here, what do I do?
Well, typically, there's no one right answer. So it's really being dynamic to the situation. So even in an economic downturn, say, gosh, it's a downturn, should we just shut shop? No. Figure out how to adjust your parameters, adjust the strategy for the current situation. Situation's changed, so maybe you need to cut back your exposure amounts, or be a little more conservative in those lending decisions during the downturn. But the point is, the world is not a place where you can just say yes or no and shut shop. It's a matter of being dynamic and being able to game things out in any economic scenario.
Can I take your solution, your tool, and look at it from a more holistic point of view for my business and say, this is my business, and this is how it's sort of, and be able to put in those parameters of saying, okay, I've got a picture of it, and then I can come back and say, however, I want to look at this line, and then I'm thinking about adding some assets to it. What does that look like? Does the product, the solution, help simulate this? Like, okay, you're going to increase productivity by 10%. That means bottom line this, whatever, in a manufacturer. Are you able to do that?
At the moment, our focus in simulation is on the lending piece or financing piece.
Yeah.
So we don't currently have an off-the-shelf that would simulate the manufacturing productivity per se. Right. We focus on the lending part, any type of financing, etc. But certainly, maybe you should be talking to our CTO about that.
Yeah, because for me, because if I'm gonna take a line, and I'm more tactical in this particular approach, if I take a line and I say, what if I deploy 50,000 in this capital on this line to increase it by 10%? What is my benefit, financial benefit? Is it even worth it?
Right. This sounds like what we would call a business simulation.
Right.
So they're a little bit different, meaning, what we're doing is numerical simulation because it's a set of algorithms driven from a database.
Right.
You could have 100,000 loans in there. Whereas what you're describing we call a business sim because you're doing a business strategy.
Right.
And that's something we have partners who do that certainly lots of solutions like that are out there.
But then again, it all comes back. If I want to deploy some assets, and I need to go find some lending, I'm going to have to I have to justify The fact that if I do that, it's gonna reap the benefits as I believe it should, and therefore my lending should reflect that too.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, see.
You're kidding.
Hey, do you want my resume?
I was going to say, if this podcast thing doesn't work out for you and you can run a spreadsheet.
Oh boy, can I do that? I don't. No, I will not do that again. All I do is add and subtract now, and might do some percentages. I've gotten rid of all of those.
You don't want to be doing VLOOKUPs and stuff. Okay,
no. Macros and everything else. So, why, if you were in banking, why is this so interesting to you? Especially from a manufacturing perspective, why?
The purpose and mission of Bankers Lab from the beginning was to use finance to make the world a better place, whether it's ensuring that banks lend safely by having them run simulations and say, hey guys, if you do this, it's not going to turn out great. So we've always tried to educate the financial sector so lending can be done to help the economy, right? To be done properly.
Right.
And in the manufacturing sector for us, the excitement is that there's a lot of friction and I guess inefficiency in the finance piece.
No, I think you're soft pedaling it. It's more like a rusty nail in your eye.
I think I would not disagree with that. And so let me paint you a picture of the dream.
Please.
A picture of the dream looks like, I'm a manufacturing company, and I have these clients, and I'm not going to ship them off to the bank anymore. I have a really innovative piece of equipment, so I can create really creative financing options to help them do their beta tests so they can try new technologies. I know that customer. I can step them up through my product set. I can, I know so much more about that customer than the bank does. So why don't I leverage that to deepen the relationship with my customer? And by the way, I get to make money coming and going now because I made money on my equipment margin, and I also made my interest income on the whole amount that I lent for. So I get to make my money twice now. How great is that?
I'm having a hard time following that analogy. Are you saying me? Use me as a manufacturer. Mm-hmm. And you're saying if I work with my customer base, hey customer, I'm thinking of putting in this piece of equipment so that I can deliver this particular solution to you, right? Now, is it upon the customer side saying, hey, that sounds like a great idea? Then what?
Yeah, so let's say we manufacture big, let's do 3D printing machines, right?
Right across from us, there
exactly.
it is. It's like watching paint dry, quite frankly. Yeah. I'm watching it, it's like, oh, great. It's still zipping around, doing whatever it needs to do.
Oh, yeah, it's doing its thing. And it's like the additive sector, right, where they have all this new technology, new machinery, new equipment.
Yeah.
And, I go out to my small businesses who are using my additive machinery, and I go, hey, we got new stuff coming out that you guys can create this new process for nanotech or whatever. And the production company is like, but we don't have the cash outlay for that, guys. No way. We have a financing option for you where you can do your beta tests with the equipment as a service, so that they can try out the equipment, whatever financing product is suitable to help you sell that equipment to the factories who are going to use it.
See, that's interesting because we're being fed, especially in manufacturing and industry as in general, about this Industry 4.0 and all of the mad technology and innovation that is going on there. And for me, it's cool. Don't get me wrong. I'm all giddy about it sometimes. But the reality is I want to test drive. Mm-hmm. Now, I can never get past the option of saying, I hear what you're saying about that data, that IoT device, but can I test drive that thing and be able to do it? Because if it proves to be a successful test, then there's greater possibility for financing. It's like, yes,
exactly.
It works. You've removed some of the risk of that decision.
That's right.
See, I like that. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, and I think whether you're a larger or smaller manufacturer, just, now that we've democratized access to these type of lending tools.
And I'm going to back up. How do you define democratized?
Well, think about it this way. In the past, GE Capital, they figured out right away, wow, we make money twice if we finance the products we sell.
Right.
But at that time, they needed big on-premises mainframes and all this stuff. They needed a big team of people and data scientists, all this, right, to create that finance function. These days, with cloud computing, software as service subscription model, the parameters, in the turnkey lender software, you have drop-down menus. You just pick what you want as your parameters.
Right.
We go in there with the simulation to help you pick which option you want in the drop-down menu, but it's just like anything else. Accounting software has been democratized.
Right.
You don't need these big, huge systems. It's very easy to plug and play into this software as service world, which is a lot of the solutions here at the conference for any type of thing people need, whether it's an HR system or safety monitoring system.
Okay, I'm there.
Whereas before you needed to, you'd do this big software development project and have a mainframe and blah, blah, blah.
Again, a rusty nail in your eye proposition. And never mind, I won't even go down that road.
Well, no, and I think the painful part of the rusty nail is that it's holding back innovation. And that's what this conference is about. It's about what Northeastern Ohio is about, is how do we drive innovation? And if you can't take the friction out of the financing piece, we will never get there.
See, and I love that. I love the fact, and I was just having a conversation with, and we mentioned friction. I said, if you make it too hard, then I'm not progressing. Mm-hmm. I do not have the habit within me to do that. But if you make it a way that is simple, stressless to a certain extent, but being able to realize the results that you're shooting for, or good, bad, or ugly, it doesn't matter, but you're able to get to it relatively easy, I think you have a good business model there in a big way. One last question. Why is it important, and there's no political angle here, why is it important that I believe women need to be more engaged with manufacturing?
Well, I believe that any good business is successful because they understand their customers. And half of our population is women.
Yeah. Thank God.
And I think the other thing is that any great product comes from a collaboration of diverse viewpoints, diverse backgrounds, and everything just gets better. So those diverse viewpoints, hearing different points of view, different ways of thinking about stuff, and also the ability to understand half your customer base with that diversity, it just makes everything better.
How do we, and I'm sorry, I said the last one was going to be the last question, but this is the last question, I guess, maybe. I'm going to keep it up and open. How do we begin to encourage greater participation? Because I agree with you 100%.
But how do you get there?
How do you get there? I agree with you 100%. And granted, I've been in the room with a bunch of guys, and we come up with an answer, and sometimes, well, it doesn't work. I don't want that.
I think there are a couple simple things. Number one is always help out a girlfriend. Like, by the way, Turnkey Lender, that's our partner company, and I originally know them because their COO was pitching, and I was her mentor.
Oh, no kidding.
She probably knew more than me at the time.
At the time, not now.
Matter.
Not now.
Doesn't matter, because, we joined forces, and we're stronger by working together.
Right.
And, I've been mentored by men and women, and I wouldn't be what I'm doing without that. And whether it's through, working with the, student interns or universities or just other companies, just that mentoring piece and just trying to have each other's back and be mindful about it, I think can get you a long way.
I think it has to be a focus. I think, and just like anything else, we all talk about how do we upskill, how do we reskill, what do we do to find people to. It's never ending, quite frankly, but we're going to have to figure it out. And I think it's strategic and very important to our country as a whole. If I'm looking at it from a macro perspective, we can't play around in this too long. We got to figure out the results. How do people get a hold of you?
Michelle at bankerslab.com, Michelle at bankerslab.com.
Right. Do not do what I did where it says Banker's Slab.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Banker's Lab.
You can find us on Twitter and LinkedIn, and we're all over the place.
All right. Hey, you were absolutely wonderful. Excellent.
So
I
much.
like it. And I can geek out.
Yes.
I didn't even go down that rabbit hole. I was going to.
You were going to.
But I
saw
did
ya.
not.
I saw you.
That's right. That's right.
Anybody wants to geek out on finance, give us a call.
Yeah, really. And it's the right thing to do. All right. All right. Once again, we're broadcasting from the Manufacturing and Technology Show here in Cleveland, Ohio. By the way, I love Cleveland.
It's awesome.
It is, isn't it?
It's awesome.
Oh, well. Maybe it's me. I love it. All right. We're going to wrap it up on the other side, so don't come to me and say I can't get a hold of Michelle, because we will have all the contact information, so stay tuned.
Thank you.
You're listening to the Industrial Talk Podcast Network.
All right, great conversation with Michelle. Thank you very much for being on Industrial Talk, and man, definitely delivering the goods at the Manufacturing and Technology Show. We were once again there in Cleveland, Ohio, doing it real time, baby. Doing it real time and delivering value at that particular time and celebrating industry heroes such as yourself. Go out to her LinkedIn stat card out there. That's Michelle Katics, Katics. Reach out. Create a friendship with her. That'd be great, because I think what they're doing is absolutely spectacular. Again, we're all about education. We're all about collaboration, and definitely about innovation. And we feature all of those individuals that bring that to the table. You are bold. You are brave. You dare greatly. That's why we do it. And you're changing lives, and you're changing the world. Thank you very much for what you do. We're going to have another great interview right around the corner. So do not go away. We'll be right back.